Alright, so it's 23/18, Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. I just kind of defragged a bit and just allowed myself to ramble. And now I'm going to practice, or continue practicing, making actual videos. Trying to learn how to, communicate my point clearly for an audience that may be wanting to know what I'm talking about. That wasn't very good. I am trying to overcome imposter syndrome while also overcoming my nerves and being able to speak clearly and to speak precisely and to be able to carry a train of thought for an audience. And so right now I'm going to start doing a lot of videos that some of them may go online and some of them may not. And what I'm going to do is practice being able to essentially prepare for my own podcast. My own blog. And I want to be able to share my story and to share my experiences and to share my ideas on social media and eventually become a social media influencer. I really think it's a ambitious goal, but I also think it's achievable. And I think if someone like me can do it, then truly anybody can. And right now, while it's all candid and, down to earth, kind of down in the dirt kind of thing, really rugged and dirty and dingy and chaotic and choppy, I really want to be able to share that, to be able to show people that have the same problem that, hey, you can if you just don't give up. So everybody wants to get up there when they've crossed that hill, they've, crossed that plateau, they've made their way to the top, and now they're getting ready, they've kind of walked up there a bit, and now they're going to the other side where true success really is, right? Where it's kind of a downhill journey, and they've actually got it together. You always see them at that point. You always see them when they've got it all together. You always see them out in the open when they're all cleaned up and groomed and pristine and eloquent speech and super educated and really talented and all this. But you never really see people when they're down like me, when they're just getting started. And they're really not okay. It's like everybody's like, oh, I've been on the street. I started from this. Oh, I used to be able to not even hold a conversation. Oh, I used to stutter. Oh, I used to not be able to hold a train of thought. Oh, I beat around the bush. Oh, I have ADHD so bad and I can't do this and I can't do that. But now I have all these remedies for you and I have all these ideas for you and I can do it. You can do it too, and that's what you always hear. But you never get to see them. And so it almost sounds like a sales pitch for a lot of people, For me, it was like, were you really as messed up as you say? Because that doesn't look like the case to me. I'm skeptical. I don't believe it. I'm insecure, and I don't think I can, because I don't think you're telling the entire truth. I think you're just trying to sell something. I think you're just trying to encourage people. Your intentions are good, but I don't really think you were as bad as you make it out to be. Maybe you're exaggerating, or maybe you just underestimated yourself because you're insecurity. I can see that. And then I start psychoanalyzing every little statement, every little claim, every little idea, every little thought, every little expression. Oh, yeah, see that? Oh, yeah, see, that looks like insecurity. Oh, yeah, but that looks like... No, you see the way they're doing that? That looks like they're lying. Oh, no, see the way they're doing this? Nope. So, I just do that. And so I psych myself out. And so many people, we don't really get to see the crazy and the candid mess behind everybody's success. We always get to see them successful. We don't get to see them in a place where they're broken where they're a mess and everything's chaotic and you can't hardly understand what they're saying. And, you don't get to see them before they get their teeth fixed. You don't get to see them before they get all cleaned up. You don't get to see them before they are no longer homeless. And so, we live in a world with technology where it's totally doable. And with all the wokeism and stuff, why don't we just take that and use it for our advantage? Why don't we take that and just show our crazy? Expose ourselves, and we are so careful to look pristine and to be put together and to be this and to be that. And the biggest thing I want to worry about with my speech is, in all honesty, I don't want to make enemies. But it's not about making enemies per se. It's about, I don't want to be that type of influence. I don't want to have that type of attitude. If I'm going out and I'm sharing a message of love and light and hope and unity and bridging religions and spiritual paths and bridging political paths and bridging, socioeconomical paths and, bringing everybody together and love and forgiveness and war only when it's necessary and, sometimes right is right and wrong is wrong and that's what it is. I don't want to be the one that goes out and starts playing the he said, she said, and this is what I think because you're a hypocrite. I don't ever really want to call somebody outright a hypocrite. If I ever go and reference somebody's video or reference somebody's information, it's something I've really been working on, and I just don't want to be that person. So I want to be the one that's my biggest thing, is to live the life that I'm preaching, essentially. And yeah, it comes from a backbone of Christianity, but even though I'll probably never leave Christianity fully, Christendom is something that it's in my heart. It's deep in my soul. And it's not something I'll ever be okay with really letting go. Even if it's just because the Christ I knew when I was a Christian is the Christ I still know even when I work with demons. And I work with them because I have no choice. But I learned to just tolerate them. I learned to just communicate with them. I learned to just deal with them. And yeah, certain things go wrong, but even when I fall down like I have this time, it always gets better, a lot quicker than it used to, and a lot easier than it used to. And I don't have to take medication anymore, and I'm better off without the medication. And I'm sitting here trying to justify because I'm worried about the church, judging me, but I want to be that person to sow unity. I want to be that person to sow light and hope and love and truth and compassion. And this church that's helping me, pastor came to me and he taught me the meaning of grace. And I want to be that person to share grace. And I want to be able to share that message. And so anytime you're going to actually go out and say, oh, I'm going to be an influencer, you got to have a something, that you're passionate about, something that you can have a constant, like clockwork. People know what people know what you're going to be talking about. People know the general idea of the direction you're going to be going with just about everything you say, And so you might hit him with a left fielder every now and then, but it's okay. Foul balls happen. No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke about my. Never mind. It was pointless. But this is my nerves again. You gotta have a plan, like a purpose. You gotta have something that you're passionate about. And then you have to be able to communicate that passion. And so my problem is I can't communicate that passion. And right now I'm literally can't even get a shower every day. I'm relying on baby wipes, and I have feminine wipes too, but whatever. It's still, it's not bad. But I can't brush my hair. I can't do my makeup. I can't my transmission's out, but hey, look, I got a motor running. I'm warm, you know. I could charge my phone. I'm going to school now, so even in the midst of everything, it just hit the fan. You know, I lost my job. I lost everything. I'm no longer on SSI. I haven't been for over a year, and well, about a year, and I do everything myself, so I have no income. Like, I'm screwed. But you know, I'm not. I'm getting on a plane tomorrow to San Francisco, and I'm sorry, tomorrow, Monday, and to San Francisco, and I'm starting a new chapter in my life, and I chose that city very carefully, and that's where I'm going to go, and I'm going to start over. And I'm doing a degree program for artificial intelligence software engineering, so in 2 years I'll have a degree. And so hopefully in half of that I'll start being able to build the programs that I decided to take the degree for anyways. Because it's, it was free ride pretty much, so I got a free laptop, I got a scholarship, and I really lucked out. So I don't have to pay for anything, and it's all online, and yeah, my laptop will be here Friday, and my plane leaves Monday, so I'm good. But yeah, so I got a little distracted, but that gives you an idea of how messed up I am. That gives you an idea of how stressed out I am. Like, you want to take a look at my van right now? I can't even go to sleep right now, and it's like almost midnight, and like this is my passenger seat. Okay, this is my dashboard. This is what I'm dealing with, and this is the back seat. And well, I had already took the seats out a long time ago, but you see, I don't have any makeup on. I do baby wipe baths every day, but I mean, I put deodorant on. I still shave, but I'm a mess. I'm a disaster. My hair's all over my head, even though I braided it to keep it on my face. I'm a mess, And like, to give you a little bit more of a detailed look back here, that was a pillow that's on top of everything. That's how much I've got to deal with right now. And so, like, I'm sitting here going through all this, doing all this, planning to take one carry-on and one checked bag, so that I have a little rolling thing that I can roll it. And that's my plan. I just start over. And so I don't know where I'm gonna go. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just know that I did a lot of research on San Francisco, and it's a good place to start over. They have a lot of resources for people like me. And I'm a hard worker. I'm not gonna sit there and just use the government. And then, like I said, once going into the AI software engineering field, then, excuse me, that'll be right up my alley. And San Francisco will be right where I need to be, or at least in that area. And so it's a good start. And I have plans, and I have an idea of what I want to do, and I have an idea of where I want to go and what I want to become. But I don't know how to get there. And so I guess my big thing is maybe I'll just start over here too. I kind of started doing a channel, and I started, trying to, I guess, get my name out there, but not really my name, but my message. And it didn't work out. I wasn't ready. And I've spent a lot of time going through the inner files of my inner trauma. There's a huge file cabinet, like a whole forbidden library, a whole forbidden section of the library back there. And, it's a lot about what I want to talk about. And a lot of things are programs I want to do, things I want to see changed in politics. And then there's the spiritual aspect. And I'm realizing that there's hidden things, that there's a reason why Christianity is the way it is. There's a reason why these rigid Abrahamic religions are the way they are. And there's a reason this Abrahamic God is the way he is. And it will blow some of your minds to realize the true nature of the Abrahamic God is in fact Azazel himself. Y'all might not see it because of the way, but if you've ever read the Gnostic Bible, But anyways, I'm not going to go into that right now. And the Urantia book is one of my favorites. That's really the theology that I probably subscribe most to, is Urantia book and Gnosticism and the Bible, of course. But that's more morals and whatnot. But yeah, so it's all about just a love of Christ. It's just my big thing, minus everything else. Like, I understand everything else. I don't want to get on the wrong side of everything else, because I know this God exists. I know the power he has. The biggest thing I'm having to accept is that Azazel has the, well, his name does not mean rugged God for no reason, or ruggedness of God, because it's what it is. Samael is another name he goes by, and shadow or venom of God, and that makes perfect sense too. If you consider the shadow self, people talk about the shadow, whether you're talking about the inner shadow that kind of helps you balance the world and your trauma and your response and kind of justice, divine justice kind of thing, or if you're talking about the shadow of the actual darkness that is the corruption kind of within you, or yeah, definitely shadow God. Shadow of God. But anyways, I'll get into that later. So that's a little preview of kind of some of the stuff I'm doing, some of the stuff I want to do with my channel. Trying to think. Yeah, pretty much that's what it is. I'm gonna try to start over and do it over again and see what happens. And I may just rewrite my whole social media platforms. I might not. I'm not sure. But I will get there eventually. So yeah, the stuff that I've been working on, a lot of things. I'm gosh, I'm looking at this camera and I'm thinking how terrible I look. I'm sorry. I'm just like a mess. I'm so sorry. But I've got nothing. You know, is this the best I got? I know. Nothing else. Anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this, and if you want to follow along with my journey, I'm gonna share my daily life. I'm gonna share insights I have. I'm gonna share experiences I have. I'm gonna eventually get like a little tripod. I've spent a lot of time on the beach. I love the beach. As soon as I get to San Francisco, I'm gonna be like all over with, oh, look at this, oh, look at that, oh, look at this, oh, look at that. And of course I'll talk about politics, and hopefully once I get, you know, my residency status there, I'll be able to start attending, you know, meetings and things, because it's more of a lefty kind of, from what I'm reading about, hopefully that's the truth, it's more of a lefty type thing, so they'll be more open, I think, to what I have to say. I definitely have more of a leftist type of perspective, not really, but yeah, kind of, sort of. I'm definitely balanced. But I definitely have more of a left typing. I don't think Trump would like me very much. There's things that, you know, when it comes to foreign policy and protecting our country, that I'm just like, nope. And that's where I get a lot of friends in the far right. But, friends. At least I know that the other ones are just going to smile in my face. You don't expect them to be genuine. No, it's a joke. I'm sorry. Anyways, but yeah, so, well, kind of sort of a joke. So yeah, if you want to hear and you want to know, you want to really look into somebody's journey of truly healing themselves without going to counseling, without hopefully ever having to take medication again, without, you know, my anxiety is bad, but being sedated is worse. My PTSD is bad, but the crazy that the antidepressants make me when I don't get a chance to take them, or I'm feeling nauseous and don't want to swallow pills, and so I procrastinate, and I have ADHD, and so a mess. Those are the types of things I want to get into. How you can overcome your life, you can overcome your life trauma, and you can overcome your struggles of how it's impacted you by sheer willpower and self-educating. you educate yourself. You counsel yourself. Granted, people can be their own greatest critic, but people can also be their own greatest healer. It works both ways. Yeah. So I want to share that, and I also want to share my ideas. And I just want to share a journey of becoming, where a lot of people, they don't have that drive because they don't believe in themselves. But a lot of people just need to understand, everybody can be a social media influencer. Everybody can go out and make a difference in the world and make so much more than just a bare minimum of living and doing it. The money's there. The platforms are there. You know, I'm going to come across all these different ideas and things I'm going to try to make money, and I'm going to tell you how it blew up in my face and tell you, and then I'm going to rant and rave and I'll be like, oh, well, this is what I think they should do instead. But see, me, I'm going to go and I'm going to change the apps by recreating them, by doing them myself. But what do you have to do? Well, you have to learn how to build web applications. You have to learn how to work with artificial intelligence and how to build it, or else what can you do? Just bump, 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 bump. That's what we used to say. Just keep bumping your gums because you're just bumping. That's it. And just bumping. That's what it is. And we can keep bumping about everything we don't like, everything we think should change, or we can actually get out and change it. So that's what I try to do. You can keep going out and doing protests and doing rallies, or you can go educate yourself, reform yourself, refine yourself, and get out there and make it happen. What are you going to do? I'm going to get out there and make it happen. Or I'm going to die trying. See, Martin Luther King, he had a dream. I have a plan. Because I know that when you have a dream, you're going to get killed. Maybe not, but it happens a lot. When you have this big, huge, controversial movement that you really want to make change, and you really want to make something happen, you're going to make people really mad because of controversy, you can expect to be killed. So maybe I can expect to be killed. Maybe I'll die someday for my cause. Maybe I'll be a martyr. Who cares? Everybody goes out and does all these extreme sports because life's here today and gone tomorrow anyways. So one of these days you're going to die. It could happen. You could get bit by a spider tonight in your bed and would never wake up. You could have a heart attack and die. You could walk across the street and be basically hit by a bus. These days it's a lot more likely to happen. Driving down the road and get carjacked and killed. A lot more likely to happen. You could, go straight Final Destination style, driving down the road, and all of a sudden a car just flips out of nowhere and just happens to take you out. It sucks, but it's real life happens. Especially these days. Truckers, crazy, jackknife truck, woo, there you go. Any manner of things could happen and you're dead. So why not? How many people overdose on drugs and die? A lot. So if a lot of people overdose on drugs and die because they live life to the fullest, why don't we live life to the fullest in a productive manner? Why don't we come to a point where we care enough? Who cares if we die? That's what I had to figure out. I had to realize that dying wasn't an obstacle anymore. Which I'm going into the kind of meat of what the whole thing's about. So I'll just save it for another time. But this is, how I feel. This is what I'm dealing with right now. This is who I am right now. This is how I'm feeling right now. And that's what it is. You'll get to delve into really see who I am and what I'm about, because some of the stuff I'm doing is going to get me in trouble with the not the feds, the CIA. So I'm doing some stuff where I'm literally orchestrating foreign policy that I'm going to hand to people that the contending people aren't going to like. And I've already seen the evidence of them coming and causing their ruckus. So, yeah. So I want to expose everything there is to know about me. And so there will be no discrepancy. There'll be no excuse for somebody to come tell me and whatever, especially once I really start getting deep into my politics. There will be no reason for anybody to have an excuse to say, oh, she's under an investigation, let me do this. Because that's something I've noticed. Funny thing is, I've never been contacted about being under an investigation. Never had anybody bring any charges. Never had anybody tell me anything. Formally or informally, except for the threats. I'm sorry. Sometimes you've got to say what you got to say. And people aren't going to understand that. And people aren't going to agree for sure. But I think it's the way you say it is the biggest thing that matters. Because we can have our attitude. We can have our, oh no, they did not. You know, we can have our, you know what I mean, F around and find out. We can have our, you know what I mean, our belligerence. We can have our whatever. But we can have it in a way that's productive. We can have it in a way that is more refined and will be more likely to be heard by politicians. Real quick before I end this, because it's almost 30 minutes long now. And I doubt anybody's actually still watching. If you're watching, you're awesome. Because your attention span is 10, 26. About 6 or 7 times longer than mine. Because, probably about 8 or 9. Maybe 10. Yeah, probably about 10 to 250. 20, 30, 10 or 15 times longer than mine, because my attention span would have checked out before 3 minutes. And I'm about to hit 30 minutes. 3 minutes. So yeah, if you're still here, then maybe it's worth watching. Maybe you want to check me out. Maybe you want to say something. Always say something to me in the comments. I will always respond to you. It might not happen right away, but I will always respond. No, once I get to the point, and trust me, I will get to the point. I will get to the point where everything's just constant going, and I actually have a good following, and everything's going great, you know? I might not respond as much. I'll be honest. I'm sorry. And I might not be able to do it. But for now, probably for the next year, 2 years, however long, I have plenty of time to respond to you. So, let me know what you think. Tell me, and guys, tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what your perspective is. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you don't agree, whatever. But please, please, please do not come to me and put me down. Don't come to me and try to just be running your mouth for no reason, except for to just put somebody else down for your own entertainment, or because it makes you feel better, or because you're mad because you didn't think of it, or whatever the issue is. Like, there's the 3 main things I hit on, because people pretty much say, oh, they're just jealous. Oh, they just are just self-consumed and they're just entertaining themselves. Or, oh, they just have nothing better to do. That's another one. Or, well, entertaining themselves. Oh, they're just... What was the other one? My brain's not working anymore. Anyway, so, that main thing, that's why I said it the way I did, not to be vindictive. Because I realize that people are just entertaining themselves. I realize that maybe you're just mad, and for whatever reason, maybe you've been hurt by somebody that has my mentality, my attitude, or my perspective. Or maybe they look like me. Because I'll tell you something, I have that problem. It's called post-traumatic stress syndrome. But mine is complex. And I have clinically been diagnosed with PTSD, which is... It's from childhood sexual trauma, physical, kind of, sort of, but not really. Bullying, mainly, and the constant, the sometimes compounded trauma. And unfortunately, I got both, the childhood onset and the compounded trauma. And so I've had multiple severe events. You get a knife put to your throat, make you disrobe and proceed to, and you get a gun put to your head and demand your purse. I didn't give him my purse, and I'll get into that story later. Anyways, I walked away. It was a miracle. He ended up laughing at me, calling me crazy, and saying, "Come on, man, she's not worth this. Let's get out of here." You don't stand up to somebody with a gun to your head, but apparently I did. Anyways, yeah, so that happened. Compounded trauma, you get beat to the point where your eyes swollen shut and your whole side of your face is black and blue. It's nothing but a big bruise all through here. All this is just a big bruise, and it's like swollen because you're white. I've had some trauma, and so I understand if you're wary of someone because they remind you of somebody who hurt you, somebody who put you down, somebody who was cruel to you. And I realize that in my nonchalantness, if I'm having a super good day and I'm self-consumed like everybody else, because we all get there, or if I'm upset and I might lash out or say something cruel or disrespectful or just insensitive, not even intentionally, or maybe it is intentional. You can say that you have a grievance with someone without being so rare in the comments, okay? Because nobody likes to be slandered. Nobody likes to be put down. Nobody likes to be harassed. Nobody likes just the threats. Nobody likes any of that. So if you don't have nothing nice to say, just keep it to yourself, okay? If you have something constructive, or even if you have something somewhat judgmental, say it in a way that's not condescending, that's respectful. We can agree to disagree, and that's okay. And if politics were in a perfect world, no, because we say a perfect world, in a perfect world. No. We demand that, we have this natural bias that, we flip the light switch on, and the light switch turns the lights on, right? So we have this bias in the respect of, in a perfect world, because in the perfect world, the light is going to come on. But the fact of the matter is it's not in a perfect world. In a better world we can build together. A better world we can manifest together. It's like Christ comes and he says, the Spirit of God, the kingdom of heaven is in you. And in the Gnostic Bible, in the Gospel of Thomas, it talks about, many would suppose that, and say that the kingdom of heaven is in the sky. But if that's the case, then the birds will precede you. And others would say that it's in the ocean. But if it's in the ocean, the fish will precede you. And if it's in the earth, then the will precede you. The kingdom of heaven is you. It is in you. Right? And so when we bring out that kingdom within, we can manifest it without. Regardless of the religious association or that specific stereotype of spiritual association. If you think about it, that better world is inside each of us. And each of us, like we have our shadow, we have that light in us. And all we have to do is cultivate and call out that light. So no, my mistake, not in a perfect world. In a better world. In a world where we can come and build together. Politics would be that way. Where we agree to disagree. That's what I meant to say. I'm going to be 37 in a couple weeks. And I'm realizing something. I don't know if it's my age. I don't know if I'm just getting to that point in life where I just kind of start to get it. But I'm realizing if you don't say it, then you wasted the effort. Why am I going to sit here and realize all this and learn all this and come to terms with all this and not share it? So yeah, maybe it's a way to make money. It's a way to be heard. But it's my contribution as well. I always told myself if I write books and if I do things, I'm not going to sell them. If I ever get to that point, I want to keep that promise to myself. Not a promise, but like a standard I held for myself. Because I always saw how expensive Bibles are. I always saw how expensive the devotional help books are. When I was married, there was a book, The Excellent Wife. And it was like $19-20. I got it on Amazon for, I think this place called Better World Books. Anyways, they sell books as low as 15 cents. 8 cents. A really good condition. I got it on Amazon. I got it. There, or at least they used to. That was pre-COVID world. I think it was Better World Books. Then they were used books, Then they, but if you get it, it's like $20, $30, $19, $14, whatever. Then you go and there was another one, A Woman After God's Own Heart. And that one was my other favorite one. And A Woman After God's Own Heart. I forgot how much it was, but they were really expensive. Joyce Meyer books. Look at Joyce Meyer stuff. Look how much she charges for it. And I get it. There's production expenses. But how much of it is production expenses versus how much of it is profit? Maybe through being an influencer, I can get people to sponsor. If I start writing books and stuff, there's programs online. I grew up in child protective custody from the age of 11 to 18, and the PAL Youth Program, Preparation for Adult Living, is acronym. They weren't up to my standards. So Dave Pelzer, The Child Called It, he wrote The Child Called It, which was about the mother. Growing up before he got into CPS. He got into CPS about the same time I did. His story was much, much different. The Lost Boy is about once he gets into CPS and he goes to foster home. He had everything from abusive foster parents to being set up by kids that did something that blamed him, and he went to juvie for, I want to say it was a couple of years. He had to deal with so much. And then he goes and he gets close to, and he ages out. And he ends up being with foster parents that ended up taking care of him. And even after he was out of care, they just let him stay as, taking care of. I don't know if he called them moms. It sounded like they had a different name. But they took care of him. And so he goes and he joins the Air Force. Like he always wanted to. And he wanted to be a fighter pilot, tester, or something. I forgot exactly what he said, but it was insane. He got, kitchen work or janitor duty, and he didn't even come close to the career he wanted. He would get in fights, and this is in A Man Named Dave, which is his third book of the trilogy. And he would get in fights in the military, and he almost got kicked out of the Air Force for fighting. He had his CO came, and he pretty much mentored him, and he saw what was happening, and he was trying real hard, and he said, look, you give it a shot, I'll give it a shot, we'll work it together. And so he ended up being able to live his dream pretty much. And he's a really, really huge influence in I want to say it's the epilogue. And it talks about how he goes on and he realizes that not everybody that grew up in CPS is going to have the opportunity that he had with his foster parents. And there's a lot of people that aren't going to have any hope after they get out. They're not going to have anybody to care for them. He goes on and he sues the state of California, which is where he was in CPS. And he sues the state of California and pretty much ends up getting everything from what I know as the TLA, which is Transitional Living Allowance, the tuition and fee waiver for college, and then somebody else also in California comes and they kind of follow suit of a whole different scenario, right? And so he starts this whole domino ripple effect, right? And then he goes, and then they create, they're responsible for what's later to become CHAFE, which is another acronym. For the life of me, I can't figure it out, what it's for, but it's essentially emergency expenses. They have a whole thing like up to $5,000 a year kind of thing up until you're a certain age. It's like 21 or 25, some of them are 21, some of them are 25. And it's just so amazing the things they did. And so like, he's totally my hero. And the funny thing is when he went after the state of California, they came after him with everything from he's a criminal to he's a delinquent to he's just, trying to get attention to he's mentally ill to he's just outright lying and manipulating, he's scheming and blah, blah, blah. And through all of that, he overcame and he became exactly what he wanted to do, but he's responsible for my success. And I remember reading it. I can't remember if it's when his child was born or when he won the Supreme Court case where they officialized it. But November 19th, 1988, it might have been a day or so, or it might have been, I want to say it was on that exact day that some major thing, and I want to say I thought it was he won his case, like something officially was closed, something officially was done, and I was just sitting there thinking like, wow, isn't that so meaningful? All these major things happened, and then maybe it was his child's birth, but it was right around all that in the book of A Man Named Dave, where he was talking about all the successes. And so like, I was like, okay. And I was just blown away. I gotta do something about this. I gotta live my dream. I gotta stand up for myself because of Dave Pelzer, I have the ability to go to college. Because of Dave Pelzer, I had the ability to have help when I aged out of CPS. And because of the other guy, I had a lot of other help from CHAFE. And so like, these people, we never really consider where all these social welfare programs come from. We never realize what it really boils down to, what it really came from, what it really comes to, what it really means. Everybody's always like, oh, my tax dollars. Okay, I get it. And there's a lot of abuse, there's a lot of negligence, but I'll get into that later. But that's my motivation. But people can say what they want. We never saw Dave Pelzer in the midst of his about to get kicked out of the Air Force. We never saw Dave Pelzer sitting there crying, ready to give up. We never saw Dave Pelzer in the throes of his sorrow and the throes of his misery. Granted, they didn't have social media back then. If they did, he'd probably be on it. I mean, I could be wrong. I would like to think so. Joyce Meyer. I'm no Joyce Meyer. My story's similar, but not quite. I'll tell you what's not similar. I'm not going into ministry like she did. Me and God are going to take it to the road. We're going to take it to the trenches. Because I'm going to show the world love. I don't care about the legalism of Christianity. I hate it, actually. I care about the love. I care about the compassion. I care about the grace. I care about the mercy. I care about all the things hidden, taboo, and forbidden. I care about the accursed. I care about the drug addict. I care about the serial killer. I care about the crazy. Who cares about people like that? I don't have it in me to care for the child molester. Sorry, that's somebody else's go. I think we should kill him. But that's just me. I was molested. And I know how much damage it does. Sorry. Everybody has their mission. Everybody has their call. Everybody has their passion. Somebody might show up one day and prove that child molestation tendencies and the attraction to children, they're some brain issue or some whatever that they can prove, and we have a cure and whatever, and so now they're going on their mission, but it's not mine. It's not mine. I think they have a lot of viable organs. Sorry, it's not my thing. Yeah. Everybody has their thing. And so, just believe in yourself. Believe in me. Everybody, every time you go on these things, if you're an influencer, if you're somebody that came to see what this was about and you actually come to this point in the video where you actually are still hearing me, and maybe at this point you're kind of starting to relate, or maybe at this point you're trying to like, oh my god, I'm crying, this is bad. Or maybe you're like, oh well, she's pretty far gone, but she's got a point. Whatever it is. I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm really bad ADD. My nerves, and I'm sitting here and I'm getting lost in what I'm saying, and then I totally forget my train of thought as soon as I realize that camera's going. So that. But if you realize, that this is something, I remember what I was gonna say. Don't you just want your audience to believe in you? Don't you want them to come to you and say, hey, yeah, I got you. I understand exactly what you're saying. Doesn't somebody want to relate? But even not just relating, because like some of the stuff you just kind of don't want to relate to, if you know what I mean. Don't you just like believe in me? When you go on there and you're trying to make money, or you're trying to get a name for yourself, or you're trying to get, make yourself an influencer, quite literally an influencer. If you go out there and you're trying to do something, aren't you just secretly saying, or quietly or inwardly saying, like, hey, believe in me, right? So believe in yourself, believe in me, and I'll believe in you as well, okay? We'll just give that I believe in you energy, and we'll just train our mentality. Let's realize that we're all human, and we all have our portion to contribute, and we're all gonna screw up. And as long as we come to the point where we can go back and apologize, and we can go back and admit our wrongs, and we can go back and say, hey, I didn't mean it that way, or hey, I was really over the top there, or hey, like, I really screwed up. I wasn't in the mindset that I am now, or whatever it is. It's okay to make mistakes. If you can't do that, then no, there I go again. There's my quirks. Joyce Meyer has this thing, hurting people hurt people. I'm a hurting person, and I'm gonna lash out on the type that hurt me. We all are, until we learn to control it. So bear with me. I'm in the throes of my trauma, and I don't want to lash out on you, but I lashed out on child molesters already. I already lashed out on political. I already lashed out in religion. Like, I lashed out. So whether it's judgmental, whether it's neglecting the point, whether it's seeking vengeance, or I just have this, that's BS. Like, I'm not on your side. I don't care what you have to say. I just don't see it. Whatever it is, we're all gonna do it, right? And so believe in me, okay? Because sometimes it takes a lot of others to believe in someone before they can believe in themselves. And not only do I want you to believe in me, I want you to believe in everyone that has enough courage to get up and face this camera. No matter where they're at, no matter what they're doing, no matter what they're saying, no matter what their message is, no matter. Believe in me, okay? Everybody, if you can hear me, if you're actually paying attention, just do me a favor. Write "believe in me" in the comments. And right under it, I believe in you. And always remember, believe in me, I believe in you. And then you go look in the mirror and don't forget to tell yourself, girl, guy, whatever, believe in me. And I'll believe in you. Of course, that's one of those things where you don't want to do that in the mirror, because then you have a dialogue, and that dialogue gets you thinking, and when you're in that shadow work side that I'm in, it really starts to mess with you, because in reality, insecurity has to do with you being your own worst critic. And so we're not going there. Like, I don't have a mirror, but like, I'm seeing it right now, and the mirror is like, no, I'm just kidding, kind of. It's visualizations that I go into that I'll eventually self-talk and whatnot. You have a self-dialogue. It was a joke, sorry. I'll go into that in some of my videos about trauma work and things that I've done to heal myself that have helped me and whatnot, and have shown me new perspective even if I'm still hurting. Because it hurts a lot worse before it gets better sometimes. You go to surgery and the tumor's gone, or the the bone's fixed, or the arteries are repaired, or whatever it is, that you need to go take care of, and you're better, but you're not. So that's kind of like how it works. This shadow work, it's like surgery. It takes a lot of downtime, a lot of recovery, and you really have to work at it. So yeah, I'm sure I've went from here to the ends of the Milky Way galaxy, all the way into flat Earth land, and took a dip in the chocolate fountains at the chocolate ocean and Candyland, and then turned around and went back to Never Land, and then back again. So I get that I'm running all over the place with what I'm saying, but I just, I'm on my way to Disneyland right now, so I gotta go. No. No, for real though, just, yeah, if you're still here, believe in me, okay? And if you want, just say, I believe in you. I'll know somebody's paying attention. And then, do the typical follow, like, whatever. And then eventually I'll monetize it, and you'll be able to do, if you want, donations and subscriptions and whatever. But I don't really know about premium content, because everything I have, I just don't want to be that person to withhold, because I know how much that I could use. That I have a lot of time to watch videos and to learn, but I can't afford the material. And it would be really helpful for me, but I can't afford it. So I don't want to be that person. So I don't like to think that anything I have is going to be premium content. Or at the very least, I'll make it income-based, where anybody who can't afford it, you just let me know and I'll bump you in. I don't know if that's possible here, but I'll figure it out. Once I get my apps, I'm definitely planning to do that. But anyways, this is all for tonight. I've been rambling for like 54 minutes and 31, 32, 33, 54 minutes and 34 seconds. So yeah, I am gonna check out and finish this so I can lay down. It's probably after midnight by now. Yeah, probably more like 1 o'clock, just about, at least. Y'all have a good one. Believe in me. I believe in you.